It's Dorothy guiding with Scrapbooking Quebec. In this video, I'm participating in Janet Fritz's monthly YouTube collaboration, Stretch the Sketch. In this series, we start with a 12 by 12 sketch and then we alter it. We either shrink it or we stretch it. In March, we're using the same sketch as the Christie's Beautiful Life's 30 Days of Sketches series. That's a super popular YouTube series, so there's tons of inspiration out there. I think the links below may be for only Stretch the Sketch. I'm not sure at this point, but I will put all the links there that are provided for me. So there will be lots of inspiration listed below. Here's the sketch we're going to be using. The artist is Isabel Alvarado, and my plan is to take it and stretch it into an 8-photo double page spread. So here's what I'm going to be using, and it's material from Carta Craft and Create collection. And when I bought this about a year ago, I only bought the collection pack with a 12 by 12 sticker sheet, but I did buy the coordinating solid cardstock, and I'm really glad I did because I end up cutting into that in this video to create my own embellishments. And because it coordinated with the collection, the colors were perfect. Anyway, everything I'm using, tools and material, will be listed in the description box below. So let's have a look at the sketch before I jump right in here. And this here, what I don't like about it is it's too symmetrical for my style. So my plan is to use it as a jumping off point only, and I'm going to make it a little bit more lopsided, a little bit more me. Nevertheless, there are things I really like about this sketch. I like that white paper, kind of like a mat on top of the foundation page that's underneath the photos. So I am going to take that from the sketch. I like the strips of paper at the top and the bottom of that mat. And I like the fact that the photos, the large one is at the top and the smaller ones are at the bottom. So that's what I'm going to take from the sketch. Before cutting into my paper, I want to have a look at the photos with you. This is of me and my scrap room. So it's really, the colors in my scrap room are really horrible. Anyway, the real colored photos just wouldn't work. There was too much going on. So then I printed them in black and white. I found them too dull. So then I ended up printing these ones with kind of a cool filter, and I figured I could work with them, and that is what I will be working with until the very end of this video. I am showing you the two other ones, the black and white one along with the real colored one. But right now, believe me, we'll get back to those photos later on in the process. But right now I'm cutting down some paper, and I'm cutting down strips of paper, and I'm cutting down the strips that you see on the sketch on top of that block of white paper that you see on the sketch. So I will put measurements for this on the screen. You can see my foundation page is going to be that navy paper, and you can see I have that white block that doesn't quite span the left-hand page, but it totally spans the right-hand page. Now my plan is to create 2 strips at the top of this and 1 at the bottom with the stripes. The floral one at the top kind of replaces that delicate detailed edge that you see at the top of the sketch on that white block. I didn't feel like doing something that intricate, so I'm replacing that with a piece of floral paper. So I'm giving you an idea how I plan to place my photos here. And as you can see, it's no longer symmetrical, it's kind of lopsided. And right now I'm just auditioning different papers because I know I want photo mats. So I have a bunch of different colors here and I'm going with them, and I end up going with the green paper even though I'm trying them all out at this point. So what I will do off camera is cut my photo mats, and you can see I've done that and I've matted all my photos. Now the square photos at the bottom, I used my square dies to cut them out. That's why it's kind of a weird size. I think the photos are 2 3/8. Anyway, I will write the measurements on the screen, and I just used a die a little bit larger to cut the green photo mats. But square dies, if you have them, it's a great opportunity to use them for things like this, because especially when you have a row of squares, they all come out kind of perfect anyway. But obviously you can do it with a straight trimmer as well. So I just made a little mark on that white paper because I know I want the left hand paper, for that white paper there to be shorter, but I just wanted to accommodate those two big photos that are at the top. So now I cut that down, and now what you see me doing is just adhering those narrow strips to the bottom and top of that white paper. So I do that across the two pages. I don't think I make you watch all of this. I'm just giving you an idea how I'm doing it. I also want to point out that the measurements on the screen are for visible page parts only, and that means for those strips of paper at the top and the bottom of that white cardstock, they are actually bigger. I cut them bigger, but then I tucked them underneath when I was adhering them. So now what you see me doing is just adhering that mat across the two pages, and then what I'll do is start adhering the photos, and then I will stop the film again and continue adhering the photos because this is just kind of boring and repetitive. There you go. I think I'm going to adhere the last photo on screen simply to show you that I was using my T-square just to line all of these up. So I'm happy with that at this point. And at this point, I'm still happy with the colored photos. You're going to see later on, I do run into a bit of trouble. So now you can see I'm definitely changing things up from the sketch, especially with regards to the positioning of the photos. Essentially, I've got mine straight as opposed to crooked because I like things straight on a page, and I did remove the photo from the far left just to make it less symmetrical. Now for those two huge embellishment clusters that you see on the sketch, as opposed to having them both towards the bottom of the page, I'm going to have them in opposite corners. And for the foundation layer of each embellishment cluster, I'm cutting out a large 6-inch scalloped circle, and this is with a punch from Creative Memories. What I did was I started with a 6-inch piece of paper. I punched out all 4 corners, flipped it around, did the same, and then it gave me this beautiful scalloped circle. So now I have 2 of them, and I'm showing you my title that I cut out in advance. And you can see it says My Scrappy Space. And what I did was I cut them out with dies from Elizabeth Craft Designs. You'll get a closer look at those alphas at the end of the video. They're stitched, they're super beautiful. And each letter has 3 layers of cardstock underneath, so they pop up a bit. I'm getting out another die now from Elizabeth Craft Designs. It's a camera die. You can see it almost creates a little book, and it's a huge die. It does not fit in my normal size big shot here. So I just wanted to show you how I cut it. Basically, what you saw me do was run it through on the plates, but part of the die extended over the edge. So what I did was I just slid it forward, ran it back through the big shot, and it worked perfectly. Now I'm cutting out in navy blue a few rings to put on the front of that camera. I'm not sure which one I want there, but anyway, so you can see now I have my camera that I cut out, but I also have a bunch of embellishments, including some flowers that I made with the cardstock that was part of this collection. I showed you a die set there, an old one called Floral frames from Stampin' Up that I use often, along with those stitched circles. So I created myself a bunch of flowers. I also have another wallet size photo that I plan to put inside that camera, and I have the stickers from this collection. So my idea here is to place my title there over on the bottom left, along with a journaling box just to the right of that. So that's kind of the same as the sketch, the placement of the title and the journaling. And I am going to be creating 2 huge embellishment clusters, except mine are going to be in kitty corners as opposed to both at the bottom of the page. So that's what you see me working on now. I started with those big circular elements in green. I put my title down on the bottom left. I placed those flowers that I cut out with my big shot off camera in both corners to create repetition. Now I'm going into the sticker sheet. I found like a ruler that I'm going to put on top of that journaling box. I think at this point it's all on wax paper. I'm selecting a few other things, a bunch of little tabs there that I think I might work with, a pair of scissors, anyway, a bunch of different stuff. And now I'm just kind of additioning them around different places on the page. At this point, I'm telling you, the color is starting to bother me. I think it's probably those flowers that I created. Anyway, it's starting to look a little juvenile to me. And even though scrapbooking is crafting, to me it's anything but juvenile. Nevertheless, I move forward and I'm adhering everything that I've selected. So basically my title and that big scalloped circular element along with the flowers, including those scissors, which later on get dropped, all are in the bottom left of the layout. Then what I will do is move over onto the right-hand page and adhere that as well. Those little sticker tags that I put on wax paper, I end up putting them along the photos at the bottom, along that row of photos. I also showed you some liquid glue there. When I did adhere my title down, what I did off camera was I added liquid adhesive to them as well. So you can see me now adhering those tabs along that strip of photos at the bottom, and now I'm working on that big cluster at the top right. I did trim down that big circular element, and I plan to overlap that camera on top of it, and you can see I do have that photo on the inside of that camera right now. Actually, it's not adhered at this point. I end up trimming it down because I don't want you to see the photo in the top right of the camera. There's like a little square there for, I don't know, a flash or a button or something like that. So anyway, I'm placing my photo in there. I'm happy with that. When I end up adhering that camera there later on, you're going to see me get out a special adhesive, which is just a stronger adhesive. Because this camera is a little book, I like to add extra strong adhesive to it just because it can be opened up, it can be kind of manipulated. So it's a kind of tape I use whenever I put anything interactive on a page. And you can also see I have one of those flowers there sticking out from underneath. I end up popping this flower up with a bit of foam adhesive, so I'm reinforcing it with a little bit more cardstock underneath. I think I'm happy with it, but the colors really are bothering me. It's kind of looking like primary school to me. Anyway, so I keep moving forward. I get out a few enamel dots. I put them in the holes of that camera, which is in that die. But anyway, so I just cover up those little holes, and I also add enamel dots to all of those little sticker tags that I put along the bottom. I basically stopped. I knew the colors were bothering me. I went and did my journaling. You can see it's in the bottom left there now. And I also found a bunch of leaves that I had cut out for a previous project, and they are identical in color to that mat that's underneath. But I'm thinking maybe if I add leaves, that might make it a little bit more adult. Anyway, I'm adding things to it. I go to the sticker sheet, I'm looking for stuff. And this is a problem for me when I'm not liking the page. Here I am adding stuff, and I should be probably taking something away, but I'm adding. Anyway, what I'm doing is trying to make it so that I like it. But at one point, I get the idea to pull out one of those black and white photos, and then that's kind of like my light bulb moment. I get out what I had printed earlier. They are not trimmed down yet, but I'm at least getting an idea, and I'm placing the black and white photos there, and immediately I'm liking it a lot better. So what I did was, off camera, I went and trimmed these, especially the ones at the bottom, because I had to cut those out with my die cutting machine, and that was just going to take forever. But you can see I placed them all down. I'm happy with that. And all I'm doing right now, when I adhered those photos down, I did adhere those leaves as well as a little sticker cluster down by the title that says My Scrappy Space. But what I'm doing with all of those leaves is I just popped them up with foam adhesive. So this is still kind of primary colors and all of that, but I definitely like it better with the black and white photos. I'm much happier with that anyway. And you're going to see in a moment when I open up that little camera, or at least take a photo of that camera opened, I ended up adding some more of those stickers on the inside. But that is it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would be absolutely thrilled if you did. And if you are a subscriber, thank you very, very much. Don't forget to check out all the other participants. Their links are listed below. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon on YouTube. Bye-bye.